The old port city of Marin had once been a jewel of trade. Ships from faraway lands docked at its wooden piers, bringing spices, textiles, and rare metals. Among the countless artisans who lived there was Elias, a middle-aged blacksmith known more for his honesty than his skill. His shop sat at the end of a narrow lane, a humble place filled with the clang of hammers and the glow of embers. Elias had learned his craft from his father but never achieved the fame he longed for. His blades were decent, his horseshoes sturdy, but his name was not spoken in the same breath as the great smiths of the city. He sometimes wondered if he had missed his chance. The years went by in quiet routine: heat the forge, shape the metal, take modest payment, start again. Then the fire came. One dry summer, a spark leapt from a ship's lantern at the docks. Within hours, the wind had driven flames through the market district, and before dawn Elias's shop lay in ashes. Everything he had built, tools, stock, memories, was gone. He stood amid the smoking ruins, calloused hands trembling. For the first time in years, he felt not just disappointment but despair. Without tools or income, he wondered if he should leave the city and start over somewhere else. But as the days passed, Elias noticed something strange. While many merchants cursed their losses, some also rolled up their sleeves. Neighbors who had barely spoken to each other began clearing debris together. The city council offered small grants for rebuilding. A young carpenter who had lost his workshop approached Elias and said, "I can help you rebuild your forge if you'll teach me metalwork." Elias hesitated, but the boy's determination reminded him of his own younger self. They began working side by side. With no old tools to rely on, Elias was forced to improvise. He borrowed an anvil from a friend, carved his own wooden molds, and learned to temper metal in ways his father had never taught. The carpenter built new racks and bellows from salvaged beams. In the evenings, when his hands ached and his body wanted to quit, Elias would sit by the shore watching the blackened docks and think of his father's words, "Steel grows stronger in the hottest fire." Weeks turned into months. The new forge took shape, not just as a replacement, but as an improvement. The wider chimney drew smoke more efficiently. The bellows pumped stronger air. And in experimenting with new techniques, Elias discovered patterns of folding steel that gave his blades a sharper edge and a shimmering grain like water. People began to notice. Sailors returned, asking for knives that stayed sharp at sea. Caravans wanted his tools. Even the city guard commissioned swords from him. One day, the same councilman who had once walked past Elias without a glance came to his door. He held up one of Elias's new blades, its surface rippling like silver flames. "This," he said, "is the work of a master." Elias smiled, not with pride alone but with understanding. If the fire had never destroyed his shop, he might still be making average tools in a dark corner. The loss had forced him to rethink everything, to collaborate, to innovate. Adversity had been the forge that refined not just his metal but his spirit. Years later, when apprentices asked how he became great, Elias would lay a rough piece of iron on the anvil and say, "This is us before life tests us." The hammering, the heat, the pressure, that's adversity. It hurts. It shapes. But if you stay in the fire and keep your purpose, you emerge stronger, more useful, and more beautiful. The city of Marin thrived again. And Elias's forge became a place where young craftsmen learned that setbacks are not ends but beginnings. His story spread beyond the city walls, inspiring not just smiths but merchants, sailors, and anyone who had lost something precious. Moral of the story: adversity is not the enemy of success but its hidden architect. Like metal in the fire, we are shaped, strengthened, and refined by the challenges we endure. Loss can be the starting point for reinvention, and hardship can forge the courage and skill we never knew we had.